Hello, hello, hello. We are back, we are back, we are back. It is week 29 of Altered Index 2025. This week's prompt is Cityscape. So I went into I've got a little envelope of architecture and landscape type images, and I found this really cool one. It was actually it was out of my book of Washington. So it was actually a really long picture. So it was this, and long shot view of Seattle. Way over here is the tower, but wasn't much city beyond that. So I've chosen this part there. Try to get it in there without the glare. As you can see, I've got my little stamps out again. This is my least favorite of the two sets. These are smaller, it's a smaller font, but these do not stick together very well. So as you see, I've got taped together. These ones are not taped because I need the N out of here, and I need the H from here to go there. So we kind of mix in and match them, but you'll see me struggle with those. I'm gonna warn you ahead of time. You're gonna see me struggle with those. Just realized that I did not close my glue up last night when I went to bed. Shame, shame, shame on me. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. So as a reminder, this was last week's. And if you remember right, I actually did it on the wrong side of the card. So it's on the back. Last week's prompt was night. And if you missed that last week, just as a reminder, this is actually a pen holder. And you can buy these in my my Etsy shop. Same name, Peace and Cues, all one word, .etsy.com. But that's last week's. So this week is Cityscape, and next week is Creative Life. Oh, that's really wide open to interpretation, is it not? Creative Life. Isn't this creative life? Maybe next week will be a what's on my desk. Use what's on my desk, and I'll just create a collage of all of this, all of this that is back here, off to that side and off to that side and up there, that y'all can't see, but is constantly in my way because I got a bazillion projects going at once all the time. So let's get started. This was on my desk. It is a map of Alameda, California, but we're going to improvise it because I didn't want to break open and cut up a Washington map when I had this map piece already on my desk from when we did maps and travel. So we're gonna use it. Now you gotta remember the underlying theme for this one is mixed media. So it's, mixing and matching your stuff. And I just put that little one up top because I'd been cutting holes out of this paper. Oh. Sorry, I just realized there's a whole lot of noise going on outside out on my road. Not sure what's going on. Sorry. Sorry about that. Opened my mouth to speak and a yawn fell out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the stencil. I dug through my stencils before recording because I thought, I could have swore that I had a stencil of raindrops. Stay. However, in searching through my massive collection of stencilage, could not find it. So maybe I don't. And in all reality, it could actually have been a stamp and not a stencil that I'm thinking of. I don't know. So we're just going to move forward with this stencil that's not actually of rain, but we're going to improvise it. And we're just going to use our creativity, right, to pretend that it's rain. And it'll make sense, hopefully, in a little bit. I thought this blue was darker than what it is, but it's really not as dark as I thought. So I'm trying to avoid like these big blotchy parts. Although it does seem like this is kind of the size of raindrops that happens in Seattle when it does rain. There's a reason we call Western Washington the wet side of the state. And that's because it rains constantly. That's why it's so green over there. Because it gets so much rain. So you can't really see that too much as well as I was expecting it to, but we're gonna go with it. Okay, we're glue our little cityscape here. Okay, I'm gonna put that in my basket. And I have this little scrap piece here that I'm gonna This is mainly so, I mean, I could stamp directly on top of this, but I want to kind of cover up where it says Alameda. I'll probably put some raindrops on that too, just because make it blend in a little bit better. So this is just this is a quote from the movie Sleepless in Seattle. It rains. Nine. Any of you Sleepless in Seattle fans, you already know what I'm putting. I gotta take this tape off. I need the N. See how easily they fall apart. These ones, this was the first set that I bought, or the second set. I bought the big set first, and I was so impressed and I fell in love with them. And I'm like, ooh, I would like a smaller set. These are not as good as the big ones. The big ones actually lock together really well. These ones don't so much. In fact, if you don't tape them, you end up like this while you're trying to stamp. So it rains 9. Months. Ooh, that one blurred. I need the H out of here. Try to reuse tape as much as I can. Again, that's this really, really wet. Stamping pad. So the quote is, "It rains 9 months of the year in Seattle," is the full quote. We're just going to put these all off to the side because those are going to be they're a pain. I fumble with them a lot trying to even trying to get them put away. But I do want to get the tape off because last time I didn't take the tape off right away. I had to like soak them to get the tape off. So at least do that. Okay, that's going to go down there in my little bucket. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is, besides get myself very messy, almost drop that right on top of that. I'm just going to use the pad itself. I'm not going to worry about getting out my dauber or anything. This is just giving this a little edge so it stands out against the page a little bit. Now, this stemmed from it started with finding that image, and then from there, I Googled quotes about Seattle, and it took me immediately to the movie Sleepless in Seattle. And I just kind of went from there. Let's go up a little bit and over. And then we're going to get our little mock rain. I'm just going to apparently my brush is dry. How about a big splat? I think anybody that lives in or around Seattle or has visited Seattle understands that, that is kind of how it rains over there. It's like hail-sized raindrops. They're huge, and it's like, yeah, duck for cover. Trying to get my thing back in the way, and I'm scanning. No. Oh. I'm scanning to see if I had my wipes in reach. Okay, and then I also need to repunch my little holes here. Okay, so with a map as the backdrop, oh, look, I just barely missed my image punching the hole. This is a skyline, part of the skyline for Seattle, Washington. This is a quote from the movie, partial quote from the movie Sleepless in Seattle. Rains 9 months of the year in Seattle. Did some stenciling on the background to kind of mimic raindrops as well as the water splats. Almost feel like I want more than one though. There we go. And there we go. There's our card for this week. Rains 9 months of the year in Seattle. And cityscape, just as a reminder, our word for this week was cityscape. So thanks again for tuning in. I know it was short, sweet, and to the point, and also, not really super creative in my mind anyway. So with that, we will talk to you in the next video. Bye! Turn the mouse back on. Bye.